Now this is a pretty spectacular Bell & Howell 2709. This is serial number 241. It was first purchased by Thomas Ince and Thomas Ince Studios February 23rd of 1918 when Ince first built his studio in Culver City. It's now the Culver City Studios, and it's a very famous lot. Most people have never heard of it. And it's where they shot Gone with the Wind, and it's where they shot the original King Kong, and hundreds and hundreds of other movies and TV shows. Now Ince was very famous for action. He shot westerns, and so he shot a lot of action movies. And in the day, you couldn't shoot action well with a gearhead because you needed one hand to pan. Crank the pan and one hand to crank the tilt and the other hand to crank the camera. So unless you had a three-armed cameraman, it was a real problem. This is a gyro head, so it's designed to be able to follow action. Another thing this camera has is the exterior shutter indicator and lever. It's geared right into the camera, it's built right into the shutter so that you can see what your shutter angle is with huge numbers rather than looking in this teeny little window. And what you could do with this is shoot overlap dissolves in camera. While you're cranking the camera, you flip a lever on the back of the camera and the shutter will fade to zero. You stop cranking, you crank the camera backwards to where you started your fade out. Go to your next scene, your next setup. Start cranking the camera and flip the lever the other way and it would fade up. And what you got was an overlapped dissolve in camera from one scene to the next. And it looked something like this when it was going. You got to zero, crank backwards to where you started your fade out. Went to your next scene, started cranking, flip the lever the other way, and you fade it up, and you got your in-camera dissolve. Another thing this camera has that I find very interesting. Now that dissolve mechanism, I'd only ever seen two of those. This is unique. I've only ever seen one of these. This is a Bell & Howell sight finder that is just fabulous. Mitchell came out with a sight finder that replaced the old Bell & Howell lipstick viewfinder, which was really difficult to use and awkward as heck. This particular sight finder was designed to try and take the market back, some of the market back from Mitchell. Mitchell made a sight finder with a prism in the front, and the prism flipped the image before it went to the ground glass, so you got a right side up image on the ground glass itself. Because they patented the prism, a workaround for Bell & Howell was to put a mirror on this, and so you looked in the mirror and then you saw your image right side up. Difficult to work with, but half of a workaround. Bell & Howell matte boxes and rods were really a problem to work with. They had very few places for filters. What you would do is screw filters onto the front of the lens. That made it really hard to change your filters. Mitchell came out with a matte box and rods that had multiple stages. Anybody that had a 2709 loved the camera, knew it was a spectacular camera, but hard to work with. Once the Mitchell accessories came out, the Bell & Howell guys threw their matte boxes and sight finders away and went to Mitchell. This Mitchell has a slot for circular filters here. It's got it right in front of that. It's got a stage for square filters. Right in front of that, there's another stage for square filters. There's a stage here for sliding filters. And then there's mats, so you could format your scene top and bottom, left to right, to whatever you liked. The camera is in fabulous working condition. It's been gone through lube oil and a filter, and The inside of the camera looks like that. Bell & Howell serial number 241.